In age 783, our warriors are faced with a new enemy. A successor even more genius than Dr. Gero created an enormous iteration of Cell thousands of times more powerful than the original. A foe that may have possibly been the strongest they have ever encountered in their history of battles. It was a great struggle, but in the end they are victorious thanks to a mysterious new energy. Finally, Son Gohan had truly awakened his power. He not only regained the peak of his ultimate transformation bestowed upon him by the Kaioshin, but unlocked a new mysterious form far more powerful than anything our heroes could have imagined. Similar, albeit different than the Super Saiyan 3 form, his hair grew several times over and shined a solid white, and his eyes turned into those of a beast. Now that the dust has settled, a new chapter begins. This mysterious power, that he has even yet to still fully understand, will not be sealed away again. And neither will it go unnoticed. Although busy training on Beerus' world, Goku and Vegeta have more than taken into attention this latest development.
That's enough for now. For the past week, I've been training my newfound power. What about you? Gohan.
Back at a suit in his home office, Gohan explains to someone that as he already knows, a recent survey by Dr. Brung in the relatively unexplored Slatin Island, specifically in the southern archipelago, yielded the discovery of a very unique species of ant. Of course, this is a callback to what Gohan was studying in the superhero movie. When they assume danger or are threatened, they turn yellow and emit a faint aura. It's quite the extraordinary ability that you won't find in any other species of ant anywhere on Earth. That is, anywhere else besides this island. After he did some further surveying himself, it turns out that these ants are not a one-of-a-kind species. There are actually many different types of these ants that can each turn into different colors. Some can even turn into several colors in succession. For now, before they can be properly taxonified, they'll refer to this genus as SAIYANs, or SAIYANs for grammatics. Creeping on him through the window, Piccolo listens in to who is possibly the strongest mortal warrior in existence babbling on about freaking ants. Furthering that another interesting thing about this so-called Saiyan species is that some are more widespread on the island than others. The Namekian can't believe this! Again with this crap? It could be speculated that these ants use certain colors that are more threatening or powerful, so to speak, than others. Another possibility is that this is based on what the perceived threat finds the most intimidating. So for instance, the color... Flipping on the lights, Piccolo lets himself in to scold the Saiyan scholar. Is he seriously still staying up all night to do research on ants? Taken off guard. Apparently not wanting a 7-foot-tall alien, or at least an alien that's obvious he's an alien, in his video, he seems to close his laptop and asks if he minds. He's trying to make a recording. They'll talk to him later, instructing him to wait in the TV room and Videl will make him some water. Simply uttering,
Alright.
Gohan shushes him as to not pick up his voice on the microphone. After a few minutes pass, the three of them find themselves in the living room. Piccolo admits that he's just surprised, that's all. After what happened last week, he would have hoped that he changed and began training again. Gohan states that Red Ribbon thing was a mess for sure, but now they're back to the status quo like always. He was in the middle of a research project then, and now he still has to finish it. As Videl moves to place her coffee mug on the table in front of him, the half-Saiyan continues that luckily though, he's almost done. Once this is over with, he'll finally have some free time. Leading to the big question, when he has this free time, what will he do with it then? Sipping his glass, he remarks that if it quells his concerns, he has not forgotten what happened at the end of the battle back there. He's felt very different since that moment. It's strange. Even though he hasn't transformed again since, he feels as though the power hasn't left him. Pausing to listen, Piccolo reveals that when he reached that new form, at first he himself had trouble sensing his energy. The ki felt unusual, somewhat like divine energy, and yet it felt like something else entirely. Gohan also still doesn't quite understand what happened back there. If his friend hadn't come here today, the young family man would have sought him out before long. I'd like to ask him a favor. Help him find out what this new power is. The pair find themselves in a desolate wasteland. What looks like part of a castle or fortress lies in ruins in the background. Asking Gohan if he's ready.
Unleash your new form!
Stopping short of transforming, he pleads with his training partner to wait a minute. Who worries it could be something serious, but all it is his new form doesn't have a name yet. Annoyed, the spaceman growls that he guesses they could just come up with a name for it now then. Trying to figure out something quick, Piccolo calls his new form Orange Piccolo. Is that correct? And yeah, because he became orange. Since Gohan's form turns his hair white, he should be called White Gohan. But even Big Green thinks that's ridiculous. He squabbles to know what the problem with it is. Kazuya's mentor to question if he has no shame. Don't copy his naming schemes. Not really being creative, he then thinks he can just swap around the adjective and noun and call himself Gohan White then. Not liking this much more. It's acceptable, although it may sound weird to say still. Powering up the Saiyan Chortles. Well then. In this case, he'll call it Gohan Blanco. However, currently this pretty much just looks like what could be Super Saiyan White. What happened to his hair? Gohan doesn't realize what he means and only notes that it changes like all the other Saiyan transformations. But no, it was longer before. And his eyes, they're different now. Of course, since he doesn't exactly have a mirror to compare the looks. It's possible it's because he was so rageful before. Maybe since he's not so angry now, it's different. Whatever the case may be, nothing's going to get accomplished if they just stand around talking about their appearance. They should get down to business. Piccolo extends an arm and shouts that to really understand this new power and ability, nothing will be more effective than a good old-fashioned sparring session. Their goals are simple here. First, to revitalize Gohan's fighting prowess. And second, to see how proficiently he can control his power while in this Blanco state. For now, I'd like them to primarily focus on the second goal. He needs to match his power output to Piccolo's own. Even with his Orange Piccolo form, Gohan still far surpasses him, so he's afraid they can't use the full extent of his power immediately. However, in exchange, this is of course a great opportunity for him to practice ki control. And just to make it fun, let's say the Namekian wins if at any point he uses any more than this current level of power. Up for the challenge, Gohan decides that's fair enough. They'll see if he can stick to this rule. Here he comes! Elsewhere, Vegeta and Goku stop in their tracks to hone in on the duo. This is the same enormous power as before. Judging by this, the last time wasn't just a fluke then. It really is Gohan's own power. And this time, there is no enemy. The two of them are just tapping back into the strength again by themselves. looking a tad more serious than usual. Whis suggests that if Goku doesn't mind, they must not teleport away to meet Gohan yet. He wants them to take care of a few things here since he himself has some other matters to attend to. While Goku doesn't mind, doesn't the angel also think this is strange? That energy feels kind of odd. What is it? Who unveils that it's something rooted in his raw potential, much like Broly, but not quite the same. Vegeta finds himself eager to understand what he means. Is Gohan also some sort of legendary being? As ridiculous as it sounds, it might actually explain a lot. The Divine Being responds that Vegeta should be well aware by now that one does not need the help of a legend to reach astounding levels of power. That being said, he's also not entirely wrong. He will answer this question in full later. Goku queries if it's because he's a half Saiyan, so maybe this means he has some sort of special power that normal Saiyans don't have. The Prince inserts that this would mean Goten and Trunks also possess the potential to unlock this power too. Which, even though Vegeta was just being condescending, maybe they do and they don't even know it yet. Or maybe Gohan might be something like a legendary half Saiyan. But that's preposterous. Regardless, there would have to be a legend to go along with the form, and no such half Saiyan legend exists in Saiyan mythology. It would be more likely that he's some sort of legendary human, and said legend has been lost to time. But no, Whis sternly states that this is a much different matter. Meanwhile, in Universe 11, the most powerful warrior in the Tournament of Power, Jiren, glances behind himself as something seems to be bothering him. What is the case behind Gohan's limitless potential? Whis appears to suggest that it has nothing to do with either a Saiyan or human biology. But what else could it be? And with Jiren, who not long ago was completely untouchable in all the multiverse, now being left in the dust by our heroes. Has he been doing anything himself to keep up with this most recent surge of power?